What if I told you there's this powder? It's been killing insects for longer than humans have even existed. It's a remarkably simple solution that's probably sitting on a store shelf near you right now. And this is the story of why you've almost certainly never heard of it. So let's just start with this question right off the bat. What if the best pest control on Earth is this 30 million-year-old secret just kind of hiding in plain sight? The claims here are just almost hard to believe. It works on ants, fleas, bedbugs, cockroaches, mites, ticks, slugs, you name it. The list just goes on, covering more than 100 different species of pests. Okay, but get this. This is the real kicker. Insects can never develop a resistance to it. Think about that for a second. That's a total game changer compared to all the chemical pesticides we use today, where resistance is this massive, constant problem. And it doesn't leave behind any nasty chemical residue. In fact, the purest form of it, it's called food grade, is so non-toxic that you can literally eat it. Yeah, you heard that right. And maybe the craziest part of this whole thing, it costs about $4. $4 for a bag. Seriously, remember that number, $4, because it is the key to this entire story. So what is this mystery powder? All right, the big reveal. It's called diatomaceous earth. And its story, well, it doesn't start in some high-tech lab. Nope. It starts at the bottom of ancient lakes and oceans, like 30 million years ago. So diatomaceous earth, or DE for short, is basically just the fossilized remains of these super tiny aquatic creatures called diatoms. Their shells were made of silica, which is essentially glass, right? So over millions and millions of years, these tiny glass shells just piled up in these massive layers, which turned into the soft rock that we mine today and then grind up into a fine powder. Okay, so how on earth does this stuff actually work? See, this is where it gets really cool. It's not a chemical poison at all. It works in a purely physical way, which is what makes it so different. It's a mechanical killer. And this slide just illustrates it perfectly. To you and me, if you touch it, it feels like a soft, chalky powder. But if you could shrink down to the size of an ant, that soft powder suddenly becomes a field of razor-sharp, microscopic shards of glass. Terrifying, right? So here's the bottom line. When an insect crawls through DE, these tiny little shards slice right through the waxy protective layer of its exoskeleton. Then the powder acts like a sponge, absorbing all the essential oils and fats from the insect's body. And what happens next? It fatally dehydrates. It's not poison, it's pure physics. And you just can't evolve a resistance to getting sliced up by a razor blade. Which of course leads to the big question, right? If this stuff is so amazing, so safe, so cheap, why isn't every exterminator on the planet using it? Why isn't this just common knowledge? Okay, let's go back to that number, $4. We're talking $4 for a bag of powder that, if you put it in a dry spot, can keep on working for years. It's basically a one-time, permanent fix. Now, let's look at another number, $16 billion. That's how much the pest control industry in the US makes every single year. And that industry is built on what? Recurring services. Chemical treatments you need again and again and again. The source material really just lays it out there, plain and simple. A $4 bag that permanently solves the problem, that's not a business model. It's a business ending. The whole system depends on things not being a permanent solution, so you have to keep calling them back. All right, so if you're thinking, okay, I'm intrigued, I might want to try this, it's super important to know how to use it the right way, both effectively and safely. So let's get into a quick user's guide. Okay, first things first, and this is absolutely the most important rule. You can only use food-grade diatomaceous earth. There are other kinds out there, like for pool filters, but those have been heat-treated and chemically changed, and they are really harmful to breathe in. So you have to check the label for food grade. Now, when you're putting it down, you gotta remember, less is more. Seriously, the goal is this super light, barely there dusting. If you make big piles of it, the insects will just walk right around it. But a fine layer they can barely see, they'll walk right through it. So where do you put it? Well, you want to think like a bug. Put it anywhere they're likely to travel, along your baseboards, underneath appliances like the fridge or stove. You can even puff it into wall voids, put it around door frames. And it works great outside too, as a perimeter around your garden beds to stalk slugs and beetles. Now, let's be real. It's not magic. It does have some limitations. The big one is moisture. Moisture is basically its kryptonite. If DE gets wet, the particles just clump up and they lose those sharp edges. So that means if you're using it outside, you're going to have to reapply it after it rains. And another thing, it doesn't kill the eggs, only the active insects that actually crawl through it. So, when you step back and look at the whole picture, what we've got here is a solution that's literally been millions of years in the making. It's a truth that really feels like it's been buried under decades and decades of marketing for chemical sprays and traps. This timeline really just tells the whole story, doesn't it? 30 million years ago, the stuff that makes it was just forming at the bottom of the ocean. Fast forward to 1960, and the EPA officially registered it as a pesticide. And yet here we are today, and it's still this proven, permanent solution that's so often overlooked in favor of those expensive, recurring chemical treatments. It really makes you wonder, right? I mean, here we have this incredibly simple, effective, and ancient solution that was pretty much buried by a more profitable business model. And it just leaves you with this one last big question. What other simple truths are out there just waiting to be dug up?